5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off! Rocket ships are awesome. I don't know if you saw it yesterday, but the Falcon or the Dragon, I kept mixing up the two names, blasted off from Florida yesterday, and it shot off, and my kids were just blown away by the magnitude of the rocket as it blasted off into space. And to just think about mankind, we who are born without wings, have learned to not only conquer the air but go into space, and just the investment, the dreams, the energy, all the resources that poured into it, all the people and the minds and the brain power that went into thinking about this rocket and how to send it up into space, and all these ideas coming together to do something that's unimaginable. It's quite a heroic quest, right? It's this heroic journey that they took on to go beyond our little Earth here and go into space. And so today, this is what we want to share about, is about this ability to go beyond ourselves. Just when we get to that threshold, just when we get to that place where we say, yeah, maybe I'm not meant to fly among the clouds. Maybe I'm not meant to go that high. We decide to step out on faith anyways. And then God gets behind us and shows us the heroes that we truly are. Because everybody, I want you to know that you are the sons and daughters of God. I mean, let that sink in for a second. You are the sons and daughters of God, which means yes, you can be a hero as well. And so we want to welcome you today into this message. We're talking about heroes, and today we're talking about Heroes Quest and about this path, this journey of faith, of family, of dreams, of careers that we're all embarking on. And so we want to invite you here to dream with us today, to go on this and explore these bigger ideas. And today, we just want to welcome you all here to Gather Family Church, wherever you are, whatever couch or bed or outside seating patio that you are finding yourself in this morning. We want to welcome you to our service. And this isn't just a time to be inspired or to enjoy music, but it's also a time for us to reflect on what God is doing in our lives, on what God is saying to each one of us. And so I want to invite you to take this time as a renewal. So welcome to Gather Family Church. Let's kick it off with By and By, reminding us about this journey we're on, and God is going to be explaining and telling us his story as we keep persevering, as we keep moving forward. So let's do church.
Thanks for being here with us.
Tell the story of how we've overcome, and we'll understand it better by and by. We are tossed and driven on the restless seas of time, somber skies and howling tempests off the sea to bright sunshine. In the land of perfect day, when the mist have rolled away, we will understand it better by and by. By and by, when the morning comes, all the saints of God are gathered home. We'll tell the story of how we've overcome, and we'll understand it better by and by. We are often destitute of the things that life demands, one of shelter and of food, thirsty hills and barren lands. We are trusting in the Lord, and according to his word, we will understand it better by and by. By and by, when the morning comes, all the saints of God are gathered home. We'll tell the story of how we've overcome, and we'll understand it better by and by. Trials dark on every hand, and we cannot understand all all the ways that God would lead us to that blessed promised land. But he guides us with his eye, and we'll follow him on high, and we'll understand it better by and by. By and by, when the morning comes, all the saints of God are gathered home. We'll tell the story of how we've overcome, and we'll understand it better by and by. And we'll understand it better by and by. And we'll understand it better by and by.
Thanks, y'all. Let us pray. Dear God, our Heavenly Parent, we are just so grateful to be gathered here together this morning as one family all around our homes and around the nation and the world. It's just such a great time for us together amidst everything going on. We want to really be here in your presence this morning and just invite you in our midst to work in our hearts and in our lives and give us joy and inspiration and comfort and love. And we also want to bring that back to you, that hope. We thank you so much for each person here today. Please bless them wherever they're at in their journey. And we just want to invite you here to speak into all of our hearts. And I thank you. I pray this in your name and in our names. Amen and Aju. So this morning, Jerry will be continuing in on the Heroes series, and today's all about the Heroes Quest.
Good morning, everybody. It's so good to see you. It's good to be with you. It's good to be in your presence, because when we get together on a Sunday morning, it's a stand for God in our lives. It's a stand to remind ourselves that God is in control. And even though we don't feel like we are always in control, even though we don't feel like the path is clear right now, God can come into our lives and help us moving forward. And today we want to remind ourselves of that in the midst of everything going on. And I just want to speak to everything going on. We, on one side, we have a nation divided. It's scary, right? Because many people don't feel like they matter. Many people don't feel like their voice is being heard. And as children of God, we all have this divine need to be recognized, to be seen. We have a need to recognize our brothers and our sisters. And when it comes down to it, we all come from the same Heavenly Parent. We all come from the same seed. We all have that same spark of life in us. So when is it going to be that we recognize, we realize who we truly are? And when we recognize who we truly are, does that not also lend ourselves to recognize who our brother and sister truly is? And when will the people that have faith in God and believe in God start to recognize the humanity all around us and each person's divine right to be here? And we need to start uplifting and standing up for one another. It's said sometimes that evil only wins when good people decide to do nothing. And so right now it's also a reminder that we need to be heroes in our own communities, in our own neighborhoods, for our brothers and sisters, for maybe women in our life that don't have a voice, maybe the children that are being abused in their homes that need help, they need a voice, maybe for the African-American neighbor or the Hispanic neighbor or that Muslim neighbor that people don't quite understand, that may have some fear of. And we need to advocate and say, we are one family under God. We are human beings, which means we have this divine right to be here. And each one of us needs to be raised up. And so I want to encourage us to start becoming those heroes that God has called us to be, to not just go along with life, pretending like other people's lives don't matter or other situations aren't as important, but start recognizing that we have influence on one another and we can encourage and support one another. Let's stand up for our friends, our family. The way I was raised, I grew up in an international community. I grew up with people I called my aunts and uncles that came from all different parts of the world, that some of them didn't even speak English well, but I still related to them with that love and affection as if they were my own family. And it was only later on in my life that I realized that the word aunt and uncle or brother and sister is normally just for your immediate family. It's not normally something we use for people at church or friends or family, neighbors. But it was such a thing that was ingrained in my life to see all people as God's children and therefore all people as my family. And so it came as a shock to me to grow up and realize that other people don't have that same situation or that same mindset. You know, it was something so natural to me, but I looked around and I realized other people don't have that same nourishment that I received as a child. And so I want to encourage us and myself also to remind ourselves that we need to be heroes for one another. We need to be champions for God. You know, this world is a world that God created. Can you think about that? God created this world. And his intention was for it to be good, for it to be in an ideal place, a place where his children could grow without any threat of harm or viruses or sickness or prejudice. He imagined he was going to raise his children in this neighborhood, this world, right? And they would flourish. And unfortunately, this world has succumbed to selfish desires, and we attack each other. We fight amongst each other. We divide ourselves unnecessarily. We create these man-made divisions between my religion, my race, my nationality. And so God's children are no longer safe. They're no longer being born in that safe environment. I can't imagine one moment for my children to not have had that protection that we were able to provide them when they were born. But many people don't live in that kind of world that I live in and don't have that opportunity. So today I'm reminding myself that God needs me to be a hero. God needs you to be a hero. If you are listening to this message today, reminding ourselves that we are God's children and we have that divine spark that calls us to a higher purpose, a higher calling, to advocate for healthy families, for marriages to thrive again, for children to grow in love and safety and security, for neighborhoods to be a place of nourishment, of support, of encouragement for children to grow in. This is a time for us to be called to be heroes. And I was reminded of this as well because we saw this rocket launch yesterday. This was an amazing experience. Me and my kids and my wife, we were sitting on the couch and we were all bundled up and we were watching this and just looking at the magnitude of this rocket. You know, and then the crazy idea was, you know, at the top of the rocket, just this little tiny chunk is where the people actually are. And they're sitting on hundreds of thousands of pounds of fuel, right? All this fuel underneath of them had potential to explode at any moment. And these two guys in there are sitting there ready to go. And they took that leap of faith. And everybody that put in that preparation for them to be there, people that lost their lives in the past trying to get these rockets to go off the ground. I mean, there's been so much investment into this. And after they successfully launched off, which we were all so grateful for, I mean, after 10 years launching off like this, and after they launched off, right, they can finally see space, and you see this dragon floating up, right, this little doll floating up. And that was so cool. And then one of the really neat things was seeing as the rockets are detached and they fall back to Earth. And to just imagine, these things are flying from space. And they don't just randomly fall. My wife's like, wow, how does it not just fall off in like China or off in the ocean somewhere, but it like comes back down and finds the exact little floating landing pad and lands on it. I mean, it was just mind-boggling, the amount of precision that went into that launch. And one of the things that the NASA president was sharing after, he said, you know, I just hope that watching this little 10-minute launch, that 10 years from now, the kids that are watching this can say, I can be Elon Musk, I can be Jeff Bezos, I can be Sir Richard Branson. And that would make this all worthwhile. You know, that spark, giving that hope, that dream to people that they can be that hero, they can be something bigger than their environment has told them they can be, is an amazing thing. And we have this world, right? This place we're born in, and we might feel and see our limitations, but God only sees the possibility. But we've got to have that leap of faith, that decision that we can go beyond what everybody tells us we can do. And so I want to take you on the hero's question. I just want you to think about your own life, reflect on if you've seen these aspects in your own life, in your own journey. There's first always this beginning point, right? There's this documented idea of the hero's quest, and it goes from every hero story, Hercules and Jesus. He has the same story laid out. You have it in the Jedis and the Matrix and all these different things, right? There's always this kind of story plot line that follows, and it starts out with this mundane world where we just feel out of place, right? You're going about your life day to day, and you feel like there should be something more. There should be something greater, something bigger in your life. You just feel uncomfortable. And we feel this uncomfortableness because, well, there's a divine spark in us, and we're living as if we're just some creature on earth. We're not living this life that God has called us to live. And so we're going through the motions, and we're going, I wish there was something more. I feel like there should be something more. And then there comes this point where we feel that we just need to step out there, and we start taking those steps. And we go, oh my gosh, like, what if I did this business thing? What if this person that's in my life is a person I should marry, and I should commit to them? And we start taking that step towards marriage, and we go, maybe we can get engaged, maybe we can get matched, maybe we can start this process. But we feel the ground shaking beneath us, right? And we feel that trepidation building up inside of us. And then we come to the point where we go, oh no, oh no, oh no, this is too much. Okay, I know that looks like my hopes and dreams are over here. I can see the possibility of me pursuing that new career, that new dream. I can see that possibility if I actually jump into this relationship with God and abandon the ways that I've been filling this void, and I trust in God, and I'm going to take this step. This is our life of faith, brothers and sisters, where we feel like this world cannot go on the way it's been going. And we go, okay, I'm going to trust in God. I'm going to give my life to this pathway. I'm going to start following it, and it's scary. And then we start feeling that shake, that tremor. It's uncomfortable. We're living in a way that we weren't living before. We're going against the grain of society, and we start freaking out. And there's that moment where we want to just step back. We want to walk away. And we feel like we're failing, but at the same time, it's just too big of a burden to go that hero's quest. How many people have been in that place where you were about to get engaged, where you were about to start that career, where you were about to give your life to God, where you were about to take that big step, and you just freaked out? And it's okay. We've all been there, right? But luckily for some of us, a mentor came around, right? And this might still be where you're at. Maybe you're still dangling with that idea, that dream, that life can be better, that your dreams can come true, that God has called us to a better world, a better family, a better community, a better hope for this world. And maybe you're still in that shaky point, but a mentor comes about. Think of Yoda, right? Coming into Luke's life and saying, I know you have these fears, I know you have this anger, but we can overcome it and we can get through this. You know, think of in the Matrix, Neo is sitting there in the red and blue pill, and he's not really sure which way to go. But that mentor comes along and pushes him, encourages him to take that step. And we need that mentor. We need a hero sometimes in our life. Some of us feel like we're going to go on our life on this journey by ourselves, that we're strong enough. But sometimes to take that real heroic step, to live life the way God has intended you, you're going to need a push. You're going to need support and encouragement so that you don't live that mundane life, so that you don't waste these precious years that you have, so that you don't waste that opportunity to step into someone's life and save their life. So we have these mentors that come in, and I can think of it in my spiritual life. A Telmo Saraiva, that came and encouraged me. A DJ Brewer that came and encouraged me. These people that came in and encouraged me and pulled me out of my mundane life and said, hey, Jerry, you can do more with your life. You can pursue this relationship with God, and you can pursue the marriage blessing. You can pursue creating a true family. And I know that you don't feel like you have what it takes, but God is going to come into your life. And I trusted it, and I was able to take that step. And you get to that threshold, and it's that choice. It's that no turning back. It's that crossing that bridge, and it's falling apart behind you. And you're going, if I cross this bridge, I can't go back to the life I lived anymore. It's Jesus after his 40 days in the wilderness, and Satan is coming to tempt him, and he's offering him the greatest opportunities to speak to the greatest temples, or to have all the nations bow before him. Jesus, you can have everything. Just step back. And Jesus is sitting there confronted with this opportunity. I can go back and live this comfortable life. I can just take whatever I'm being offered right now, and maybe no one will even fault me. And this story will end and nobody will remember me, but you know what? I'm going to live a comfortable life. Or I can take that step. And he chose to take that step to come out of the wilderness and say, I'm making a stand for God. I'm making a stand for those that can't make a stand for themselves. I'm going to reach out to the poor and desolate, and I'm going to tell them that they are the sons and daughters of God. I'm going to reach out to the sick, and I'm going to lift them up. I'm going to encourage this band of fishermen, and I'm going to tell them, throw down your nets and come with me. And they also chose to take that step. I mean, it's mind-boggling to think of these choices that people made. It's Reverend Moon on the mountain being confronted, right? And Jesus is coming to him saying, please take on this mission. And he's going, I can't do this. And that fear encroaching upon him, that fear that he might not be able to take it up. He might not be able to offer enough, but he steps out anyways. And then that journey begins, and we start on that journey, and we start following that path, and it looks lonely at first. We finally step out. Sometimes you think, when I follow God's calling, I'm going to step into faith, and then everything's going to be there, right? But often the case is we're going to step out on faith, and we're going to go, oh, shoot, I don't have a parachute. I don't have anything to hold me up, and there's no one around me that's cheering me on. But we start walking that path, and as we walk that path, we start to identify our allies, those that come around us and support us and go, hey, brother, I think we can do this. I think we can stand up against this regular world, this regular way of doing things. Maybe we look like aliens to them, but we're going to step out in love. We're going to start showing this generosity. We're going to start showing this one family under God mentality to this world. And so we take these steps, and we start building our action plan, and we start devising how we're actually going to share this new truth with other people. And it's scary, because you're presenting something that other people are also, they're going to be presented with that same threshold experience. And they're going to go, oh, yeah, this looks nice. And oh, this looks ideal. And this looks great. But it's not for me. And when we share that and we testify to what God is showing in our life, and then someone rejects you, and some of them, it's not going to be so nice. It's not going to be like, that's not for me. They're going to go, hey, you're causing an affront to my way of life. Honestly, when I hear some of this Black Lives Matter stuff as a white person, I had to check myself, because I was looking at it, and when they go, oh, all white people are racist, right? And then I go, well, I'm going to defend myself, right? And then we get stuck in this trap of defending ourselves, and then everybody's defending themselves against each other. But otherwise, I can go, hey, yeah, maybe I can, just stand up for one another. I can stand up for my friend. I can advocate, and I can step up. And it was something of a change in my heart, to think about that, to think there's this thing going on in this world that I don't understand. I don't fully resonate with, but I can support someone else. And so it confronted me at first, though, because it challenged my perfect way of life, right? And I think when I'm confronted with the divine principle, when I'm confronted with God's truth in my life, when I'm confronted with some of the stories of the New Testament heroes, and I look at it and I want to throw it back. I want to go, no one can be that good. No one can be that loving. When Jesus comes and says, when someone strikes you, turn your cheek. If they steal something from you, give them your coat. I go, there's a part of me that just wants to go, that's a little over the top, buddy. Let's tone it down. And so you're going to present your hope to this world. You're going to present this new opportunity. Hey, we can bless America. We can bring marriages back into completion. We can confront the divorce culture. We can confront the broken family culture. And it's scary. And people want to defend the things that happen to them in their life. And I understand that. But also we have to open up this new idea that the world can be better. We don't have to just accept and justify the way things are, but we can step out and make things better. And so it's a scary proposition, but it's also something that I feel God has called us to. We're supposed to make God's kingdom of heaven here on earth. That means we got to throw out a lot of junk, a lot of things that I've accepted as just the reality of this world. A lot of things that I said, oh, that's okay. We can just go about doing it this way because that's the way it's always been done. But then I got to go, well, God has called us to create his heavenly kingdom, his home here on earth. And we've got to change. We've got to step it up. And when we start to confront these things, we're going to get attacked. And you're going to have your own personal self attacking you. You're going to have sides of yourself that want to hang on, to that way of life that are going to be attacking you. There's going to be your old past coming at you, attacking you. There's going to be other people that don't want to accept your ideals, your views, and it's going to attack you and it's going to hurt. You're going to feel like, maybe I should step back. But as you continue to persevere, you're going to find that you can overcome, that God comes behind you and you bring back that treasure. And you finally can claim and start seeing lives changed. You start seeing hope. You start seeing a brother or sister that was on the verge of self-destruction finally find value again. And in that moment, you get the taste of that treasure. You get a taste of that kingdom, and you can persevere. You can keep moving forward. And then you come home and you go, look, everybody, we're doing it. We're finally making it. But in that hero's journey, there's one last challenge, and there's that death to the old self. In Jesus, this was that literal death. He hung upon the cross for all of his ideals, for all of his hopes. He put it on the line. He said, this is out there. And in that pain and that suffering, he said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. He put himself up there, and it was painful and hurtful. But in that moment, his message got a rebirth. People started to see, hey, this guy wasn't just talking some big game show talk. He wasn't one of these preachers up there that's just trying to get paid. He actually lived it out. And when they saw him on that cross, people had no more doubts that what he said, he really meant, that this kingdom of heaven was going to be built on people deciding to give their life for one another, to love one another beyond all boundaries. Even the guy that stabbed him, right? Even the guys that spit on him, even the guys that put a crown of thorn upon his head, he forgave them. And in that moment, his whole message got a whole new meaning to it. And people said, wow, there's something heavy, something weighty here, something important, something valuable, and it changed the world. When I look at one of my heroes, Reverend Moon, I go, this guy was imprisoned in a death camp in North Korea by Kim Il-sung. They wanted to kill him because he was preaching God's word in a communist area. So they put him in prison. They tortured him. And years later, when he has escaped that prison and he has gone on with his life, he goes back up to North Korea to embrace Kim Il-sung. I mean, it's mind-blowing to think of that kind of love and generosity. And in that moment, his teachings, his concepts of God no longer were just something that was written in a book, but it was something manifest, that we can start loving people that hate us. We can start loving people that don't understand us. We can conquer this world, not with fire, but with the love of God. We are no longer going to put out fires with more fire. We're not going to fight back in that way, but we're going to return love, and we're going to win people over with the heart of true love. And so this was what I understood, and it has become my path in life, that we have to build this kingdom of heaven. We have to save our brothers and sisters. We have to make a better world for our children that they can grow up in and have hope that their love will be returned, that their love will be resonated, that they can have those healthy relationships. And so when it's all said and done, when that battle has been won, then the elixir can come, the healing, the cure to our ailments, that we can bring back that embrace, that truth, that everything, all the scars, all the pain can be a lesson to those that come after us. It can be a hope to those that feel like they're lost. your drug abuse, your alcoholism, your broken marriage, your abuse as a children, when you overcome that, you can come to those that haven't been abused, those that have gone through addiction, and you can say, this is the path out. This is a God that loves you despite your mistakes. This is a God that sees you as his child. That divine spark lives in you, and you can overcome that. Come with me. And so we as people, we come to become those heroes in this world. And our heroic effort may not look like I'm Moses crossing the Red Sea. It might not be some big gigantic thing. It might just be that I spoke up for someone, that I reached out to someone, that I mentored a younger person, and now their life has changed. Now they have hope. Now they have a change in their mentality, in their heart, in their relationships. And in that small moment, in that small world, you become a hero. And we all have that possibility. We all are born with that divine spark. We all aren't just merely human, but we are also God's children. We were made to be like God on earth. We were made to be God's caregivers on this earth. We were made to be the ones that would take care and nurture this world. We were going to represent God's heart. That is within us. No matter how far down it seems to be, no matter how much you feel like you can't walk that path, no matter how much you feel like you've been broken down, that still lives within you, and it cannot be broken. It cannot be thrown away. It cannot be fully tarnished. No, it can come out and emerge when we choose to cross that threshold. And so this is our time to become those heroes. And the truth is that God needs you to be this hero. The truth is that this world will remain broken until we stand up and become the heroes for God, until we become the heroes for humanity, until we become champions for those that need a champion right now, until we become the messiahs for the people that are broken and lost and don't feel like they have salvation in their life. We need to stand up. God wants you, and he needs you first to realize who you are. Because brothers and sisters, in the end, we are all God's sons and daughters. And this is God's one family that lives here on earth. And this is our one life that we have to live. So let's give it all for our sake of our brothers and sisters and for the sake of God's heaven on earth. Thank you. Let's join in prayer. Our dear Heavenly Parent God, you created us with hopes and dreams of who we could become, God. And you had hopes and dreams of what this world would look like. You had ideas of what you thought our love could look like. And then you look around, and we look around, and we are heartbroken. God, we're heartbroken for you that you have to watch your children fight against each other. God, you are heartbroken because you see your children who were married destroy those marriages. God, you're heartbroken because you see teenagers growing up without any hope and succumb to drug abuse until they've wasted away their life. God, you're heartbroken looking at this world and seeing how many people are starving or are dying of diseases that are easily curable. God, you are heartbroken seeing your children waste away when all you wanted was for us to be safe and flourish and be filled with love, God. And God, we want to thank you, though, that you still believe in us, that you are still encouraging us. God, you have put me here on earth, I believe, to share this hope with others. God, you have blessed so many people in this world as well, not for our own self, but to be a blessing to others. So God, I want to pray that we can believe in the heroic qualities that live within us, God, that we can choose to take those steps to go beyond the threshold, to go beyond our limitations, to go beyond what we tell ourselves is a reality, God. When everybody says that you cannot put a rocket to the moon, God, we want to believe that you have called us to greater things, and not just the moon, but we're going to Mars, God, not just a little thing, not just helping my neighbor, but God, we're going to save this world, God. We're going to bring it back to you. We're going to bring healing back to this world. So God, I want to call out to your power today, that you can be within us, that you can encourage us and strengthen us today. Let us see the healing that you have called for this world, God. Let us see this world brought back to you. Let us remember that we are your sons and daughters that you love so deeply. And when we recognize who we truly are, let us extend that love to every person we meet at the gas station, at the grocery store, in our neighborhood, at the park. Let us reach it out through the internet ways, and that person that has a different political view, a different religious view, a different racial view, whatever it is, God, let us extend that grace to this world. And let us bring this message loud and clear that we are one family under you, God, our heavenly parent. God, we want to offer this Sunday to you with all our gratitude, with all our love. God, we want to offer it with a lot of hope and faith that we will change this world and we will bring it back to you, God. We thank you, and we want to offer this Sunday to you. I pray this in all of our names gathered here all across the world, and in our names, in your holy name, God. Amen and unto. Thank you, brothers and sisters. We're glad that you could join us today, and I hope that this could bring encouragement to your life, to bring hope to you, that you can see your life the way that God sees you. How precious that is. If we could only see ourselves through our parents' eyes, if we could only see ourselves through our heavenly parent God's eyes, wow, we would be doing great things. So let us take a moment to step into that world today. I want to just take a moment right now for you at home, you with your friends, with your family, or maybe you're just sitting by yourself watching this, to just take a moment of reflection. To just ask yourself, what kind of thresholds are you experiencing? What is that chasm in your life that seems too big, too daunting, that you feel like you should be taking that step, but you're a little nervous too? What are those things that you think you could step into right now? That big dream that's been in your heart and your mind that God has been calling you, but it seems like too much. Maybe it's a risk in your financial life. Maybe it's a risk in your relationship life. You're afraid to get your heart broken and start that marriage, or to forgive that marriage, or to forgive that child, or forgive that parent. What is that thing that you feel like is holding you back? And just take a moment to talk about that, or talk about also a mentor that's come into your life that's helped you overcome one of those thresholds to take that step of faith. We just want to take a minute or two, talk about those heroes, those mentors that's come into your life, or something that you feel you need support, encouragement to take that step of faith. Let's just take a few minutes to talk about that. This can be a time just for your prayer and reflection as well. Reflecting on this message and what it meant to you. Well, thank you. I hope that starts a conversation either with your family or friends, or with your heavenly parent right now, that you can start in that conversation. We want to encourage you to continue this conversation, to dive in to this journey that you're on, because I hope you understand that that journey is the journey each one of us is taking in this life, right? Each one of us is called to something greater than we're living right now today. And so I want to encourage you to take that step, and you can be a hero in your own life. And we want to thank you for being here with us today. I'd like to say that I'd love to pray for you. I really would. If you're going through something, if you're challenged right now, if you're going through a difficulty, we want to pray together. We want to pray as a community. Our Gather Family Church here in Alabama wants to pray for you. And I want to encourage you to speak those words of need for prayer, and let us know, send us a message you'd like to connect and learn more about what we're doing about this life of faith that you can have, if you've been trying to find out how to establish your own life of faith, a more deep relationship with God, we'd love to help you on that journey. And we just ask that you connect with us, right, #connect, or message us right on our Facebook page. We'd love to reach out and support you on your spiritual journey. And if you'd like to give, if you've been moved today, if you'd like to support our ministry here, text the word give to 855-247-6182. It's up there on the screen. We want to thank you in advance for all your support. Just being with us, you're bringing God into this room. So thank you so much for that. But also any other support we appreciate. We're live every Sunday at 9.
That's right. And thanks for being with us each week. It's a joy to have you here from your living room couch. We'll continue to do this for a little while. And next up in our Heroes journey, next Sunday will be lessons from heroes. So we hope that you're enjoying this series, that it can really be an inspiration to you, reflecting on heroes in your life and how you can be a hero as well to someone.
Yeah, we're so glad you chose to join us this morning. Let's close up with worship. This last song will be Light of Grace, reminding us of God's love in our life. So please take a moment to pray during this song, reflect over this song, or sing along with us.
I'll give my life and my love unto the one God alone. Though clouds may come, hiding his face, hiding the smile of my God. Though clouds may come, still he is there, shining brightly. God is love. I'll give my life and my love unto the one God of love. Amid the storm, tossed on the sea, beacon of hope, guiding me.
down as the orbiter passes through the area of maximum pressure on the vehicle.